Welcome back, folks, to the Rainy Cajun podcast, and we are very happy to have with us Natalie Noel from the Noel family distilleries out of Donaldsonville, Louisiana. And I think Natalie is our first, I don't know if I should say spirited guest, our Louisiana spirits.
That's getting worse. You start off the episode with a dad joke. Come on, man. We gotta...
Well, sorry. I mean,
Hey, I'm all for dad jokes. I have made a few videos on those.
yeah, and I'll talk about those too.
No pressure. Yeah, I mean, that must have been, I think like the first distillery, I don't want to be completely wrong, but I think it was like 2013. So, um, 9 or plus years, people have, been trying. I know my dad, our family grew sugarcane for generations. So he's always wondered why there were no distilleries here making rum. And that it was like always on his heart for basically like his whole flying career. And it wasn't until I guess like 2015, 16, he was like, because he's a man of many hobbies. So he decided to build his own still, like any good hobbyist would. And he just started distilling rum in the backyard, I guess illegally.
well,
Um,
and you mentioned briefly, his full-time job was a private pilot, I believe, right?
Right. Yeah. So he's flown corporate for his whole career. Stint at LSU for LSU athletics, and
Oh, that's
and then
cool.
yeah, it was really cool. The Curly Hallman days and Jerry
Hmm.
DiNardo. We brought
Oh,
the
wow.
Magic back and we brought back the bat of Warren Morris. So like the guy's got the craziest stories, and I'm a huge Tiger fan, so it was always fun, to go and
Hmm.
hang around and hang out with him. Um, so that was how it started. His dad just
Hmm.
started taking an interest in making rum from local sugarcane, just as a hobby. Nothing, no, with no thought that we would turn it into a distillery. But
Okay.
I, I, at the same time he was doing that, I'm just getting into my business career, and my background is bringing products to market that I'm very passionate about.
Hmm.
So once his rum started tasting good, it was about 2017. We said, why don't we go to distillery school? So we went to distillery school in Kentucky together, and we said, all
Okay.
right, let's do it. So our journey really started in 2017, and we
Yeah.
did not
Wow.
get open until 2023. So
Wow.
Right.
lots of ups and downs, and that's when he really started to get connected with John False. And while we were trying to get the distillery off the ground, he was over there with John False's still and
Yeah.
working it.
And I think and so also in full disclosures, yet I have yet to try your product, but I'm actually going to be so I'm in Mobile, and but I'm actually going to be in Reserve tomorrow for a history talk. So I'm going to make a point to stop either at a restaurant or the grocery store and pick up one of the products after
Oh
we talked
Lord.
about
I
some.
don't know where I don't know where to tell you in reserve.
Well, I got to
We're in
go
a
back through
lot.
Slidell.
Yeah, he's
So
got he's
Okay.
got to traverse a lot of cities on the way, so
Okay.
it's got to be
Well, we have
someplace.
a tasting tonight in Slidell. So I know we're in Slidell Rouse's, Mandeville, Total Wine Rouse's. So
There you go.
okay,
trying
yeah,
to trying to grow that distribution as you mentioned earlier.
Right, right.
yeah,
It's a challenge, and it's funny you bring up the story because that's exactly how I started. I had a manufacturing business. I'm also a pilot too, which is kind of
Oh
interesting.
wow.
We all like making alcohol for some reason. I don't know. I don't know where that came from, but
I've met another pilot that is the same thing, that like has a passion for it. So I
yeah,
don't know, it
yeah,
must be the
yeah. It's
technical
I don't. There is a
precision.
pilots love procedure and they love process, and every time you go flying, you're going through a checklist and you're doing everything
Mhm.
consistently. And if something screws up, you know where you screwed up along the way or why it screwed up supposedly. And we heard about the bomb story, and so that maybe something happened along the way that was like maybe I missed a step, but the funny part was when I started my brewery, it was the same exact thing. I had a manufacturing business literally right next door to what would become our brewery, and very similarly, it took forever to get going. It was just kind of
yeah,
like honing in the recipes. I remember the first batches being absolutely god awful, and then you learn about things about temperature control and yeast management and things like that, and the things that you never really gave a thought to, but you do your research, you get on YouTube, you talk to people and all that stuff, and eventually you hone it in and you get your process down. So 2 years is actually not too bad to get something tasting respectable and decent. So that's good. But of course, then we have this thing.
6 years. Oh no.
Well, but you said 2019 is when you guys started tasting good.
2023.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no. Dad started just like in the backyard. It started to taste good.
Gotcha.
So, but the talk before we actually got the still that we use today installed, like not until like 2022.
Oh, wow.
And so, and then 23 was our first grinding season. And that's when Dad like really was trying to get the still to work. And that was a funny process of just like, oh, well, I have this chiller and I have this still and where's my reflux? So like he was trying to hone that in. Yeah, no, sorry to be confusing, but
it's totally fine.
First it was the backyard process. That had to taste good. And then I had to have the face-to-face talk with Dad. I was like, look, is this another hobby? Or is this going to be a business? Because
God, this is like a parallel universe. But okay.
You're about to put this huge elephant on my back to make this go. And I was like, I need to know that you're in this because this is going to take so much. And then I knew while, he loves rum, I knew that the market is just not quite ready to survive off of rum. So that's when we decided to go with vodka. And then I had a recipe for pickle vodka that I had made and wanted to release. And then, we were like 2020 and I fell in love with tequila. And then I was like, I wonder if we can make a tequila. And I went down that process. So that's where we are with rum, tequila, and vodka.
I have questions about the tequila that I want to get to later on. But
that's how it formed. I was like, Dad, I know you love rum, but one is not my favorite, and I don't think we can survive financially. So we must have something for everyone.
Yeah, need to diversify your product line.
Yeah, so we definitely had to expand the portfolio out of the gate.
Sure.
So you were talking about your first still and all that not his first still, but the one when you went professional. So you went to an old building in Donaldsonville and have I guess that was also maybe a challenge. Had to do some work with the building.
Right. Yeah. So we bought the old power and light building for the city. And so it had we had to like tear up the ground. It had like you could see where the old furnace was. It was pretty cool. But the building's over 100 years old. So we had to renovate it. Well, first we had to gut it, renovate it, and seal up the bricks. The roof, always everything was wrong with it. And as it goes, we didn't pick the best contractor. So
oh wow. Yeah.
It cost us a lot of time and money. And but I say, it all worked out because then COVID hit. So it was 2 years waiting on the 2 years prior to COVID, and then COVID paused it for 2 years. So I'm kind of like, I always often imagine like, what if we would have gotten it? So if we would have started in 18 and then launched right in 20, holy moly, we would have been right into COVID. That could have been like a traumatizing,
devastating,
financially.
Devastating.
Yeah.
So
I think
it all ended up working out, I guess.
Yeah. I think that must have been about the time I first met your dad, because I remember him talking. It was either the first or second meeting where he was talking about opening up over in Donaldsonville, and our Hubble family's down from Vacherie, so we're all up in the sugarcane business history too as well. So I was familiar with Donaldsonville. Actually, I think I've only been there one time, stopped at the Popeyes, but next time I know where I want to stop.
Choice. Now that there's no more Chef's Fried Chicken, you have to go elsewhere.
Okay. So talking about your your facility. I mean, you do tours, right?
We do tours and tastings and rentals for special events. We have, it's just a beautiful, it's wide open. There's no wall or anything like that. So you're really, you're close you're close to the still. And it's just really a great, since it's so old and we didn't do a ton of, like we left it with that vibe, that look. So it's just
Hmm.
fun for people to come in, they see it, we can talk them through the history of it, and then Dad will take them through the process of how he makes the rum agricole, which is from the fresh pressed cane juice that's just down the
Okay.
road from Core, Texas. And so, yeah, and we can do cocktails. Now, now a lot of people operate their tasting room like a tap room, like a bar, like open all the time. And so I'm hoping with like all the development that's coming to Donaldsonville, we can turn it into that where people can come and hang out. But right now it's, schedule your visit and Dad will
Okay.
take you on a tour.
All right. That's good. Yeah. So that was one of the questions I had. So my brother for a time lived in Kentucky, and so when he was there, we actually visited the Woodford Reserve distillery up there, which was really pretty neat. And so I can kind of envision when this, of course, has been 12, 15 years ago, what they had from a tasting room and all that back then. So, um, but my
Yeah,
question was,
that's extraordinary there. We're not quite there yet.
well, yeah, and they had a little bit of head start on you. I think that building was, I think their company, they told us, they had manufactured many different bourbons in that facility before it became Woodford.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Yeah, we
so
need to
they've
raise
had,
money. We need to raise money for going for
yeah,
phase two.
phase two. But so I kind of mentioned it early on when we were starting the interview. How many other distilleries are there in either, what's the closest one to you, or how many throughout South Louisiana? Because I'm thinking in terms of, like I said, people visiting and finding out and taking a tour. Are y'all the only one? I guess y'all still considered River Parish from Donaldsonville standpoint. Are you the only one in that region?
There's more than you think, and
Okay.
a few of them are popping up more towards like in the Lafayette area, like towards that direction. And then there's a few in New Orleans that have been there a good bit for a good
Because
while, and then
yeah,
one in Baton Rouge, or one or
because
two in Baton Rouge.
I would imagine that would be part of that would make a nice combination if you're doing a plantation tour or something to also include y'all on the schedule if they could
Yeah,
schedule it.
that would be great. And I'm really excited because the Rivers Boat Tour,
Well, I've heard
ACL,
Viking.
this one's the
Yeah.
American Cruise Line. They actually are adding us as an option for their guests
Oh, cool.
starting in May. And that could really be a game changer for us if that takes
Uh,
off.
yeah.
Because like as from a business perspective, we don't earn a ton of money from our tasting room like most distilleries do.
Right.
So we're strictly relying on my team to get the distribution out there.
Hmm.
Uh, so that would be really cool. But yeah, I mean, the tour
Yeah.
buses, all of that stuff, we would love that.
Because I think that so our we interviewed Chef Jeremy Langlois, who had worked for Chef John, but he's at Homeless House
Homeless
now,
house, yeah.
and so he had when we were there actually in February, the boat actually was there too. I guess it was American Line. And he was talking about how he was conducting little food demonstrations for them at that particular point. So I would definitely think that would be a good, I mean, if I was on a boat trying to find out something locally, I would think that'd be a pretty neat thing to
Yeah,
go
we're
see.
partnering with the local, there's a new coffee shop that opened up in Donaldsonville, and like a toffee and coffee shop.
Hmm.
And so we're gonna do like spirits and sweets or something, and we're gonna do a combo tour. And I hope it takes off because that'll be fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. Just trying to think. I had some listing of questions. So you kind of already talked about your product line.
Are you finding that in the Louisiana market that the RTDs, the ready to drink beverages, are better sellers than say like the straight bottles of the distilled spirits, or is it kind of an even split, or what's the breakdown down there?
So the cans were the last thing that we launched, and
Okay.
we launched them post summer last year, so like August, September.
Okay.
So we right now, every time someone tastes it, they are blown away and pleasantly surprised. So right now it's about liquid to lips and letting people know that we have them and like
Sure.
and trying to be seen. But it's
Hmm.
very difficult shelf space wise
Yeah.
because they buy like 100 cases of High Noon and neutral. And so people, it's hard to find us unless you've been attacked by one of my videos. So that's like the thing is just getting the word out. And so we haven't been a year marketing that yet. We
Hmm.
did sell through our first, production run, and
Hmm.
so looking to go back into production in the next couple of months or next month or so. So it's been really exciting. Um,
Hmm.
Only thing, it is 8%
Yeah.
alcohol, so it's a hefty cocktail. It's not a seltzer.
Right.
So people would, like they might drink, you have experience like the lighter beer, they might
Yeah.
drink the lighter
Hmm.
cocktail, and just for the sake of drinking more more than one can,
Yeah.
so I don't know the
You could,
psychology behind it. I thought about
Hmm.
reducing it, but so right now we stand at 8%.
well, you could
Our
Yeah.
always,
most popular spirit is the pickle vodka and our tequila reposado.
so I have questions about this pickle vodka.
Yeah,
Go
me too.
ahead. It's very polarizing.
So I when I saw your latest video from not too long ago, like a few days ago, and you were talking about the pickle vodka, I stopped and I rewound because I thought it was late at night, and I was thinking she didn't just say pickle vodka. Yes, you did, and so you
Pickle
said you
Party
hit.
Monday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Pickle
so
Party Monday.
so this was how did you what prompted you? So I didn't know that
It's very
this was your
logical. It's very
recipe.
logical.
Okay, go
Yeah,
ahead.
so I'm obsessed with pickles. I've been one of those people that grew up drinking the pickle juice out of the jar. So
Okay.
I've always loved salty and savory. So uh, it was like, oh, and I knew I was into vodka, like martinis, but I didn't love olives. But I loved pickles. And I was like, why are people not making martinis with pickles? Like, it's obvious to me that this should be done. And then I like looked around and there was no pickle vodka. And so that was like, I think I have the recipe. I think I have it like in my email, like 2018.
Hmm.
Wow.
I finished it. So every single year, every time I saw like a new vodka from like Stoli or the big guys, I was like, please no pickle. Until so
You wanted to be first to market with a
I
pickle
wanted
vodka.
to be first. And
Yeah.
then I'll be damned, Texas Craft came in the
Oh no.
market, the neon green, like a year, like just within a year of when hit the market, but they had like shot ahead of us. So anyway, but yeah, the idea was, it'd be great in a Bloody Mary. It'd make a great
Hmm.
martini,
Yeah.
and or you
Yeah,
could
makes
take it as a
sense.
shot.
Yeah.
But
I think I'd seen a pickled moonshine. Obviously in Alabama I don't have the diverse selections that we have in
yeah,
Louisiana.
they just hold you down over there.
Yeah, I know. Can't celebrate my heritage like I need to. But
Golly.
so my wife's German and my brother-in-law had come over from Germany, and we went to the package store here and we were looking, and I remembered seeing a he wanted some moonshine, some legal moonshine, and I remember seeing there was a pickle one, and I was thinking I couldn't get my mind around it. Now, when you talk
Mhm.
about vodka and making a Bloody Mary, I'm thinking, okay, that definitely makes sense. And then I didn't even
Right.
think about a martini with that aspect of it, with the brininess.
Yeah, you just throw,
So,
it has the salt, the vinegar, the dill. It's very briny. Then you throw a little bit of olive juice, which now update, I love olives. So that was,
okay,
so now I do
It's an
both in
acquired
my
taste.
martini. And
yeah,
and so it's been, I mean, as much as we drink Bloody Marys down here, it's been a big deal for us. We label every batch, so we're on batch 12 within like the last 2 years.
okay.
So that's been pretty cool to see.
Yeah, because I'm thinking that may be one of the things I try to find on my trip is get that because I like to put, and I'm going to put it out there, Jeremy. I
What?
like to put my pickled Melitong
Oh God, here we go.
in my in
He's got
Bloody
to
Mary.
interject a
So
Melatonin thing every episode. It's just it's
Yeah,
David.
so
I've gotten used to it at this point. So,
so that may be another idea too. Pickled
yeah, and there's
Molotov
like
vodka.
now there's pickle beer. I mean,
Oh, really?
yeah, they make beer with pickles now.
yeah. Well, see, the thing is that I've noticed. We got out because of COVID. That was kind of our final straw for us. But the thing that was getting me was that everybody was trying to one up each other, and there's always this constant struggle. You can't really these days. You can't. There's so many craft distilleries and breweries that everybody's trying to stay relevant and stay ahead in the game. And you can't just come with the good old standbys. You got your your whiskey, and you got your vodka and whatever other spirits you choose to make. You got to be more creative with it. And same thing with beer. That was the hazy beer craze, and then which I just still can't get behind. But the and then everybody was shifting over to pilsners and light lagers, and then seltzer became a thing, and all the breweries could make seltzer, and it was far easier to just dump a big old load of sugar in the water, dissolve it, and then toss in some yeast that could stand the temperature, and boom, you got seltzer. And everybody was trying all these different things again just to stay relevant, and it's almost like it's gotten intense to the point where you have to stay creative and you have to be known like for one particular product so that you can introduce people to the rest of your products. But they start, you kind of have that gateway product that gets people familiar with your brand, and they're like, wow, these guys are pretty good. And then take them from there.
That's definitely something I learned from the previous product businesses that I've done is like you market one, you're known for one. In our case, I've been trying to do the pickle vodka and the tequila.
Mm-hmm.
So we do the pickle party Monday. That idea was just to show people like, hey, there's a chance that we can mix it with more than just Bloody Mary and a martini. And, we've had some wins and we've had not so good wins, but that makes it fun. And then on the tequila side, we partnered with LSU to be the official tequila of LSU Athletics for the last couple of years as just a way to launch us and associate our brand with another winning brand. And I think
idea.
I think it worked, and for the most part.
So for people who aren't familiar with it, you've got a very active YouTube and Facebook pages, and on the Pickle Party Monday that we were talking about, she releases videos, I guess for the last, half year or year now?
I know, I'm already up to 36.
36 almost, yeah. So
a lot of drinking.
It's an interesting concept where, and you can tell me if I correct me, the ones I saw, whereas you have the pickle vodka is the featured liquor, but you have basically like a Wheel of Fortune type of
Wheel of Death.
A Wheel of Death. But you pick different components, and I think you go in a certain order. I guess you go with the sweet, or you can tell us how you go. But anyway, it's very interesting to watch and entertaining to see your reactions a lot of times on the choices.
It's all very authentic. And what I do to prepare is I just find if I come across a different liqueur or a different flavor or juice, I always start with like the citrus as the wheel first spin, because the idea is like, okay, what's the basis of a cocktail? There's citrus, there's sweet, and then there's some flavor, and then there's the base spirit. So it's like a little bit of cocktail science in the show, and I build on it, and then every single time the spirit is only the pickle vodka. So sometimes it works, and sometimes you hit rum chata, and then you want to die. So
I remember your disdain for the mixture of the cream de mint and the pickle vodka.
Oh God,
I don't like that, and then I can't stand when it hits like a chocolate liqueur or Kahlua or any of that I don't do well with. So,
Have you
but
gotten any response of anybody trying to make those drinks that came up and let you know whether or
no,
not
I
they?
saw last week somebody was just like, yuck, that's disgusting. So I don't know. No, I think we're still in the growth phase. I mean, there's some interaction, but like you guys know, with a podcast, it could take forever, or it could happen, or it could never happen where you get that like mass viewing. But it's just something. It's fun. Our team enjoys it.
Yeah.
I tend to batch them, and so by the end,
Oh
there's
God.
like by 13. I am not well. And so they're like, oh, God, we're never doing 13 in one day ever again. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Well,
probably can figure out. It's like, you should do a contest. Which episode that it was this in the batch?
two
Just
weeks
judging by
ago
your
was the
demeanor.
13 episode. Yeah, they were like, Natalie,
Your eyes are all
what
like
the heck?
googly looking in different directions.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I've seen when Chef Foltz does his stuff for the news channel, he'll batch it and he'll do like 8 or 10 recipes at once, which is there's no alcohol involved, like
Right.
like in your case. So yeah, batching I guess would be very difficult for a certain. You just need to find the threshold that's the best, works best for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun, and I mean, I love making cocktails. I love making people instantly happy, and so that's been a passion. And so I've just been diving into cocktail making more and more, and then
Hmm.
the little pickle party Monday helps me do that, despite some of the concoctions that come up. So
Well, I definitely encourage you to keep that one. I think that worked out well, and working out well. And then you do another one, crafted cocktails, where you go to the restaurants.
yeah, my thought with that one is, we really have to engage the restaurants that we work with, and I want to try to
Hmm.
get back to them and be a marketing partner for them to help sell our spirits, but also just marketing their maybe a dish or their menu, and just get them to talk about the restaurant. That one's a little bit more difficult because not everybody in the restaurant wants to be on camera, and
Yeah.
so that one sometimes can just take a long time, like just be like a lot of talking, and I don't know. Anyway, so
Well, I mean,
so sometimes
it's
I like
an
to throw the jokes in there with them too, and see if we can make them laugh. And so that
yeah.
was crafted connections. And I'm trying what I like to do is create series of content. That way people can know what to expect.
Right. I mean, I like that one. I've only seen two of them so far, but I think it was actually the last two. But the drinks that the bartenders, mixologists, whatever they prefer to be called,
Right.
they come up with some pretty interesting looking drinks with y'all's product.
Yeah, they do a
And
good
so,
job. I have another one coming out I just did with a local restaurant in Baton Rouge, and she was super creative. I mean, we did a strawberry old fashioned with our tequila
oh
reposado.
wow,
Yeah, that one was delicious, and I didn't think I would like it, but it was very good. And then she did a garden martini, so it was like a little bit of the tomato juice with our pickle vodka, so it wasn't
hmm,
quite as heavy as a Bloody Mary. So I think she's the same
okay,
thing. And then we did a couple other ones. So yeah, I like doing that. And I think the restaurants like it. And I think it sets us apart from the other local distilleries
yeah,
because
yeah,
we have a little bit more to offer. And
hmm,
it's like it's not like I'm begging them, please sell my alcohol, and
yeah.
not giving them anything back. At least that's how I
Well,
look at
right.
it.
All right, I mean, you're featuring them as a guest in your on your venue for your YouTube channel and Facebook channel, and so you're giving them a feature as well. And you were talking about cracking jokes, and so that is one of the things that I did also notice is your boozy mom
Yeah,
series,
mom jokes.
mom jokes. Yeah,
That's got some, but you want to know, it's hard to come up with jokes when you're not a comedian. So
yeah.
that I gotta keep working on.
Well, the one with your dad at Christmas was pretty entertaining. I mean,
Oh yeah,
I
that
think he
was
was.
he was like shaking his head. He's like, Natalie, what the hell? Who are you? But
Well,
this
you
whole
know,
thing has brought us really close together. So now I don't think he's not surprised by anything or any idea I come up with. Some of the people like on Facebook they'll add this is for like other in my past, but
mhm,
they'll say like, oh, we want this in a gummy form or something, or they want it this way. And And I'm like, okay, I made it. Now, where are you? You're right. Where are you guys? Yeah, it's just easy to be authentic. I mean, we're born and raised here. I love the culture here. It's, everything about it, the festivals, football,
Hmm.
I mean, I'm a huge LSU sports fan, so
Me too.
huge
Well,
sports
LSU
fan.
football.
So I just, it's just easy to be authentic, and I would be happy if we were the favorite spirit of Louisiana, and that would be it.
So I did have a story to tell you that when we were at the last boucherie, Jeremy and I were eating at the City Cafe
Hmm.
for dinner, and some of the other guys who I've known for the last several years, some of the butchers, one of the guys out of Lafayette, the Gumbo King, Curtis Louvier, he joined us for dinner. Him and his sidekick Perry Trahan. They came in a little late, and he was asking the waiter was trying to get his drink order, and he says he looked at the waiter, and we had both sets of us had eaten there at lunch also. So this was at that evening,
Yeah.
and he ordered Noel spiced rum, and the waiter said, "Oh, we're out of it right now." And so he had that at lunch, but he wanted it again. And so I turned to him and I said, "Did you just order Noel?" And he says, "Yeah." I said, "You realize who whose family that's part of, right?" And he's like, "No." And so I gave him the whole story about Andrew and all that. And he's like, "Huh?" He didn't realize that, but I thought it was interesting that he actually asked for that specifically after trying it. I think it was a recommendation they gave him at lunch. So the next day when we saw Andrew, I told him that story, uh, and I pulled Lou over there, Curtis over there to tell him about it. So it is getting some notice from people when they get an opportunity to try it, and he really liked it, and I think he was disappointed he couldn't get any more that night. So
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I am very proud of the flavor profiles of all the spirits. I mean, we have two aged rums. One is finished in a tequila barrel, so it's got tons of flavor. We have the
hmm
agricole rum from the Louisiana fresh pressed juice. So, like our rum lineup is stellar. And then we have the two vodkas, like we talked about, and then we're the only Louisiana distillery that's making 100% authentic agave tequila from Mexico. So it's I love to hear the stories, and those are the things that keep you going, because sometimes it feels like, what is it going to take for these restaurants to love us, like they love Texas products, or so.
yeah.
But it's good to hear it, and it keeps me going, for sure.
Yeah, and so I mean, if he would have ordered it that, or if they would have had it that night, I would have probably gotten one as well. But
I think they
since they were
always have
out,
our vodka too.
okay,
I think they care about it. I need to get over there. There's always a spot you need to get over to.
yeah, maybe something else when I'm out tomorrow. There, just getting it in addition to getting in the store, if we're eating someplace that serves it, I may have to look and find out if they've got anything, just as another way to try it, or at least maybe if I ask for it, they at least bring some attention to it.
That'd be good. Yeah. We need more people to ask for us. But we
Yeah.
also need more cocktails. I mean, cocktail menus. Like that's liquid to lips. Like, so we do tastings every week. We have three today. I'll be in Thibodeau today. So we're always trying to let people taste the
hmm
spirit, but we also need the restaurants to jump
Yeah.
on board and help and add us to the menu. And I'm always grateful for the folks that do. So,
You
yeah.
reminded me. So on your website, which you got a very nice website, you have a list actually of some suggested cocktail ideas on
Oh
there
yeah,
as well.
we take making recipes very seriously, and we try to update the site just about every week. And so you can sort it by the spirit of choice,
hmm
and it just helps people make it at home, because it's easier to you takes one per when you do a tasting at a grocery store, it takes one person to sell a bottle. If you do it
Right.
at a
Yeah.
restaurant, it takes 15 people.
Right.
hmm
So I want people to, take it home, enjoy it, be creative with it, but also, understand like the basis of making a cocktail so that they can be more creative. A
Yeah.
lot of people are, a lot of people are just like really intimidated by it, but once you demystify it for them,
Yeah.
Right.
you can have
Well,
fun with it.
I've been more of a bourbon drinker, and so I like the old fashioned. That's kind of the Hubble family drink. But I saw y'all had one with rum in it, so that was another thing that kind of made me thinking about it to as another possibility to because I have usually when I've bought inferior rums in the past, it's usually either cook with or you mix with a bunch of sugary type of
Sugar. Yeah.
yeah. And so I never gave a lot of thought to just sipping it. And then when at once again referencing Chef John and his product, he's got a rum. I noticed I bought some the first year and I tried it. But last year, or excuse me, last February when we tried it, I really noticed the taste a little bit different. And I think maybe part of my problem in the past is when I've done it at the house, I'll put it on the rocks and I didn't care for it as much. But when I just drank it neat, I could really notice the flavor a lot better. And so I was just wondering, is there a preferred way that your dad, when he's drinking just that, does he do it neat or does he usually
Oh
put
yeah.
anything with it?
So for our spirits, when he's drinking ours, he's gonna go neat all the way on the rum, even the agricole,
Okay.
because we have it proof. They're all proofed down pretty low. So I mean, 86 is the highest proof, and 80 is our aged rum. So it doesn't need. If you want to sip it, you can sip it. And then I prefer to sip the tequila reposado.
Hmm.
And I'll put a rock in it. So.
And the agave is that's like you bringing in agave nectar, is that the
No, you
sugar?
have to do everything there. So I went down to Mexico and found a distillery that would work with me to craft like to help me pull the levers on the creating the flavor profile that I wanted.
Wow.
So, fermentation, where the agave source, the cooking method. And so they really worked with me to create the product. But it has to be made in Mexico in order for it to be called tequila.
Hmm.
Huh.
So there's nothing, it's kind of great because, if we do take off, it's great for like growth opportunities,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
scalability.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
that was that a did I hear that is that a female owned
Yeah,
breakdown
Casa
there?
Maestra Distillery in Mexico is female owned, and
Okay, cool.
she's a boss.
So, okay. Like I said, I think that just a different variation in how I was consuming it um, made me think about trying it differently and that I would probably, approach it differently next time and then and drink some of it more often than, because I didn't really touch much of the bottle, but then I thought about it after the fact and it's like, wow, that it just adds, just changing that one component made a lot of difference to me and how I thought it tastes. So I've definitely got to keep that in mind.
Yeah, and we'll have to get you down for when we bottle. So Dad's official first run or first barrel, the first barrel that he laid down, the rum was made at John Fals's distillery. And because
Okay.
that was the year leading up, the grinding season leading up to 23. So but he was just so frustrated. Like, where are we going to be open? Like, when is this contractor going to be done? Like, to
Yeah.
the point where Dad had to finish it so that we could get in there. But he
Hmm.
was driving from Donaldsonville to Baton Rouge. I think he'd made like 30 trips from
Wow.
the sugar, like the most inefficient barrel of your life.
Right.
But no profit in this barrel. But it's the first one. It's been laid down for the last almost 5 years now. So
Wow.
that'll have a lot of character, and that'll
I
definitely
bet.
be a sipper.
Yeah.
Yeah. The story I was going to tell you when I met your dad, it might have been the second time. John had me come over and he was doing the Saturday morning. We were talking before we started filming. He'd get together with some of his buddies, especially those who had knowledge and doing distillery work in the early days. So he had this one doctor who had a vineyard and he was there and they made John was doing what he called on YouTube the cooking with friends, and so he did right before they made coq au vin and used some of this guy's wine, and so I was doing a butter beans with shrimp, an old River Parish recipe that my grandmother made and my mom kind of perfected, and so I was trying to do those in that vein. So when John had finished, we did the demonstration. They let the kitchen finish it, and so he's like, "Well, we're going to let them finish, and we're going to eat all this for lunch afterwards." And so they just finished that little patio off to the side. And so one of the doctors, I mean, they had some, oh shoot, Sauvignon Blanc, some white wine and stuff. And this was in mid to early October. And so the temperature was beautiful. I mean, it was perfect. And it was a clear blue day. And so we're sitting around there and they're opening up these bottles of wine and we're sipping and your dad's there and we're all just trying all this stuff. And I'm like, and I'm kind of, I was trying to, I mean, I'm a chemical engineer, so I don't really, I mean, I don't buy a lot of expensive wines all the time, but I kind of wanted to almost do a Google search on what the wines we were
Right.
drinking were
Yeah.
just to see how expensive they were. But they were really good. And then, and meanwhile, another one of his buddies, the doctor's buddies showed up and they bring out the food, and of course the coq au vin was outstanding, but they brought out the butter beans and shrimp, and I mean I've made it before, my mom's made it before, but this was probably one of the best renditions I had had, and your dad was eating it, and he's like, "You said it's a River Parish recipe?" And he goes, "How the hell didn't I not know about this thing before?" He says he felt like he'd been I don't know if the term he used was neglected, or his education growing up was because he never experienced that, but he really liked it. So I just thought it was funny when he brought that up.
Yeah,
But that was
no, he loved going there. Like, he loved those Saturdays with all the guys, and I was
yeah.
like, I heard about the wines.
Yeah. So like I said, it was a really great moment. So I've tried to, hey, if they need any more volunteers, I'll be happy to go over on Saturdays. But it is a little bit of a haul from Mobile.
Yeah, I
So
don't think they do it too much anymore, unfortunately.
yeah, I know. But that was I think post or or during COVID. But anyway, yeah, that was just something that was kind of an interesting opportunity when we all got to sit down there and enjoy that. And just like I said, you probably couldn't have paid for a better meal someplace, that particular day.
No, the food is delicious there. And then you had a
Yeah.
special recipe, so I'm sure it was great. Yeah, I really appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity and the platform to share our story. We will make 2 years in May.
Oh,
So
good.
we're
Congratulations.
still,
Yeah.
we're just trying to get the word out and get people to fall in love with us and have fun with us and drink with us. And,
Hmm.
we're out in the community really try to be out in the community every week, doing something. So,
I think your story is fascinating. I love seeing the craft beverage industry taking off in different parts of the U.S. because it is a passion, and a lot of people don't understand what goes into launching a business of this kind because of like what you said, the 3-tiered system. There's a lot of complexities to navigate, regulations, dealing with the feds, dealing with the state, and all the things that go into it just to produce one bottle that people just they sometimes just take it for granted. So hats off to you guys for taking the leap and making a go at it.
So anyway, we appreciate it, Natalie. Like I
great.
said, we'll
Thank
get
you
the
guys
word
so
out.
much.
I'm going to make sure I share it. Your pickle, what is it called? The Pickle Party
Party.
Monday. And maybe we can get more people to at least, you don't do them live, you pre-record them like you said. So
Yeah, I was
a
gonna do my
lot.
first live one in May, and we were gonna thinking about renting out like the Total Wines room and bring in a few guests and have them come up with me. So we'll see how that goes.
That'll be neat. Yeah,
Yeah,
let us
That
know
would be
so we can
fun.
share that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it'll be fun.
all right.
All
Well,
right,
thank you.
guys. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thanks a lot, Natalie.
All right.